we talked of formal letter, and today's our topic is informal letter. Often we keep a mindset that in exam we are going to write formal letter, but this should not be the it. Instead, letters go through both the letters. If you find that informal is easier, then obviously go for that instead of formal. There is no prototype rule that formal letter will give you more marks than informal. The only difference that we have in informal letter that we are going to point out in this letter, both the technical difference as well as the difference in the content. So here we go. In informal letter, the first difference that we notice, that is the technical. Here the format is of only 2.5 instead of 3. Whether the body consists of also 2.5, and the expression, that means the standard of language, grammatical uses, construction of sentence, will be of 5 marks. So that is the basic difference that you can notice here. Further, in informal letter, the body part is of 2.5 marks. That means 5 points into half. That will be 2.5. So keep it in mind, when we say 5 points, it does not mean 5 sentences. To write exactly 5 points, we cannot write 5 sentences because we have not developed that standard of writing or that standard of guessing to know which could be the right one. So at least 10 points we have to mention here so that the letter will get the necessary details required. So minimum number that we should use here, minimum number of sentences we should use here is 10 in the body part, minimum. Now further we have to know few more things, that is there is some difference in format. Here first of all we provide the sender's address. If you write the letter, then you have to put your address, while in number 2 we have date, that means the date on which you are writing the letter. Number 3, we don't have receiver's address here. Directly we will come to salutation. Think you are writing a letter to your uncle, so you will write dear uncle. Now if your uncle's name is Uncle Ken, so you can write dear Uncle Ken. But if you write dear Ken uncle, that is entirely wrong. You cannot do this. These two you can write. In the same way you can follow it for other relations too. Number 4, the body of the letter. And finally, number 5, subscription. Plus name. Only the name, not full name. Not in full. That one you have to keep it in mind. So sender's address you will get half marks. Date will give you half marks. Salutation will give you half. And subscription and name will give you 1. So here it is. And here you have 7.5 marks. So be careful of this entire format. Now in case of subscription, you can write your loving nephew or loving niece. You can write that. You can also write yours lovingly, yours lovingly. So this way you can constitute the format for this informal letter. Now the body part we have to discuss now. Now in this body part, what you need to provide, that is introductory line, introductory statement, and then obviously you have to provide the main body, and C, that means 3 paragraphs you have to create, that is concluding lines. Concluding lines. So we are going to make 3 paragraphs here. That will give a proper shape to your letter. Now while choosing the point, we cannot directly write 4-5 points that we know. We have to write more than that. So what is the basic difference in formal and informal? Informal body is of 2 marks and informal letter body is of 2.5 marks. In case of formal letter, the format is of 3 marks and here format is of 2.5. So that is the basic difference. Now we will take a particular letter for reference and we will see how to work out with this one. Keep it in mind, in informal letter, most of the time we write letters to our friends, family members and relatives. For ICSE we don't have semi-formal letter or semi-informal. We will either get formal or informal. Now again I would like to tell you, don't make a pure statement that I will go for formal letter. So instead of being predetermined, be practical. So here we look at informal and here it is formal. In case of informal, body half into 5 points equals to 2.5. Whether formal, body 4 into 0.5, that means 5 points equal to 2. Whether format is of 3 marks, whether format is of 2.5 marks. Now the basic difference is, most of the time students go for this formal letter only for half marks more that they get in this body part, in this format part. So I don't think that's going to be a fair option. In there is a little error here, that is for informal letter the format is of 2.5, within informal it is 3. So you have to be careful of this one. Hopefully has offered to get you a pet for your birthday. Write a letter to him telling him what would you like, give reason for your choice and tell him how you'd like to take care of your pet. Second one, the traffic outside your school is very heavy and chaotic. Write a letter to the Deputy Commissioner of Police, pointing out the danger of such heavy and chaotic traffic in school zone. Suggests possible solution for the problem. I think the first one is far easier than the second one. So if we go for this first one, that means that informal letter. So what could be the 4 points in the body part that we can introduce? Since write a letter to your uncle, so we have to write dear uncle or dear uncle Raju, but we cannot write dear Raju uncle. So dear uncle is the best term here instead of mentioning any name. Now what would you like? Name the pet that you like. Give reason of your choice and tell him how do you take care of it. So here you will get half marks, here you will have half plus half, and here also you will have half plus half. So points you have to mention very carefully. Achha, what do you like? If you like dog, then it is very nice, that will give you 1 marks. Now secondarily you have to mention what do you like to take a dog, and The choice for this one is you can write honest, trustworthy. You can also provide another point, that is very careful. We don't know what could be the possible point, so here I am providing 3, but actually ultimately 2 will be taken. And how will you take care of it? You can talk about bath. How will you bath the dog? Taking to vet. Vet means to veterinary. Further, we can talk about morning walk. So in this way you can take care of it. So here, if you provide proper points, you will get full marks here. So do go through this one, write these things in your copy. Finding out, you should let me know. Thank you very much.